Eagles fans, today I got a potential mock trade for y'all that I want to see your guys' thoughts on, as this is potentially a move to bring in a skill position player while dumping some salary for the future. And of course, I'm not going to bury the lead. That trade is the Philadelphia Eagles sending away defensive end Bryce Huff to the Atlanta Falcons for tight end Kyle Pitts. Now, I know the initial thought is tight end Kyle Pitts, we have Dallas Goedert. Philly could run multiple tight end sets. Kyle Pitts could fit onto this team and run some traditional receiver routes. That's kind of what he was used to doing at the University of Florida. Let's talk about first, though, the idea of moving on from Bryce Huff's contract. I think that is one that Eagles fans and maybe even Bryce Huff alike would be just kind of willing to mutually part ways with at this point. The guy is going to be buried on the rotation regardless at this point of what the Eagles offseason looks like. I just don't see him fitting into the plans next year. Even if the Eagles were to not have a single free agent signing, make a single draft pick at defensive end. Right now, I'm looking at a defensive line in my mind of Nolan Smith, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Jalex Hunt. And I think Moro Jomo would get more playtime than Bryce Huff. I still think Bryce Huff is currently 6th on the Eagles defensive line chart, and maybe I'm missing somebody there. Ultimately, Atlanta needs a pass rusher. Bryce Huff had a bad year in Philly, but before that, he was a really efficient pass rusher in New York on the Jets. Perhaps Raheem Morris sees this as a guy he could potentially see if he can get back up to, 8 or 9 sacks in a season. And Kyle Pitts is entering the last year of his deal for Atlanta. Obviously, this former top 10 overall pick hasn't produced at the level that Atlanta wanted him to. Only 1,000-yard receiving season, and that was his rookie year when Matt Ryan was the quarterback. Hasn't exactly been the weapon that they desired and thought he was going to be. People, when he was coming out, thought he was going to quickly become one of the top 3 tight ends in all of football. My fantasy football savants know this. It's every year we're taking the shot on Kyle Pitts because of how good the measurables are. He's athletic, he's fast. Is this the year that he finally has a good quarterback? And it just hasn't quite panned out in Atlanta. But for Philadelphia, I think this is another wrinkle they could add to the offense while also, not paying a high price for it. I do believe the cap hit for next year would actually go up for Philly. But again, he's on the last year of his deal. So Philly could either, one, raise Kyle Pitts' stock and as he heads into free agency, which is something Kyle Pitts could potentially like. Or two, they see what they have in Pitts and they're like, okay, Goddard's getting a little older. Let's do, an Ertz Goddard situation here or a Brent Selleck Ertz situation. Philly likes to do that. They like to have the second tight end kind of in the weeds learning. I don't think that's Grant Calcaterra at this point in time. I think he's more of a traditional tight end 2, decent blocker, but I don't think he is next in line after Dallas Goedert to be that guy. Kyle Pitts, I think, could come in and be that guy potentially for this Eagles offense. Kyle Pitts in Philly would be a very, very interesting spot here because, again, the ceiling for this guy coming into the NFL draft, there's a reason he was a top 10 pick and people weren't killing Atlanta for it. They thought it was the right move. If Kyle Pitts can't work in Philly, I don't think he can work anywhere. That's my truth behind that. If Kyle Pitts can't succeed on this Eagles offense as the 5th option behind AJ, Smitty, Goddard, Saquon, I don't know if it can work at all. But I'm certainly interested to find out because the 2 tight end set plus Jahan Dotson sprinkled in there adds another layer to this Eagles offense. And he's a massive red zone threat, big body. And I would be interested to see the level that Philly could get Kyle Pitts to, as well for not this year, but the following year. That clears up all of the Bryce Huff cap space. So if Pitts isn't the guy, Philly's got more money to work with. If he is the guy, you might have stolen from Atlanta. To me, this is a no-brainer for the Philadelphia Eagles. If, one, we could just get off of Bryce Huff's contract, I think that's a wise move, just because, again, it's no shade at Bryce Huff. I just don't think Philly is where he's going to be his best. And I think for us, spending the money on a guy who's the 6th best player on the defensive line doesn't make sense. Take a shot on a Kyle Pitts. I'm here for it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Do you want the Philadelphia Eagles to trade Bryce Huff for Kyle Pitts? If not, do you see the Eagles trading Bryce Huff? And if so, what are some packages that you think we could get back for Bryce Huff? I appreciate you guys' support. If you love the Philadelphia Eagles, hit that subscribe button. I'll catch you next time. Peace.